Hello everyone. Happy Friday. Let's get started. So I already asked you ask you to create the relationship. So I hope you did it. And the file is ready for work. So this is the query database relationship diagram. We have 4 tables, categories, customers, content, and truths. For each customer, we have many contents and also categories, many content. And then for each customer, we have many groups. With that, let's work on the queries. So first query. Okay. Let me give you 2 minutes to check the first query. Let's start working on it, and then we can work on the query. The first query, create a query that lists the customers whose first name starts with B. Their credit card expired before 12/30/2018. In the output table, we're showing first name, last name, state, and date of expiration. Is this a total query or regular query? For every total query, let's review so for every total query, what should we have? 2 components always should exist, a group by, a group, and for each group, an aggregation. Aggregation functions are clear: count, average, total, sum, mean, and max. So now, you were saying, what is it, the total or regular? Regular query, right? For each customer, we want to show first name, last name, and state. So these are just listing the information from the tables. Which table? From the customer table. From the customer table, first name, last name, estate, and then date of expire, and card expires. So it's one of the fields here, CC expire. Now it says their first name starts with B. It's not talking about exact value. It says it starts with B. That's when we use like. In the criteria row, that's where we add the filters, right? So in the criteria row, you want to say like inside double quotations, like, and then inside quotations, B and a start, and then close the quotation. Once we complete the query, I will show you the screenshot to make sure that you double check the solution. So there's their first name starts with B, and expiration date is before 12/30/2018. It's an and. That's why I'm putting it into the criteria row, because it says it starts with B and it didn't say or. If it said or, then I will put them into one in the criteria row, one in the or row. But here, this add or and automatically says it starts with B, their credit card expires before this date. Yes.
Like for the
Because it says their first name starts with B, so it didn't say if I don't type it, whenever we don't use the we are looking for an exact value. Let's say you're looking for an exact value to last name and the first name to be I don't know, Jack. This is an exact value, so we already know exact value. First name is equal to Jack. But when you want to say it starts, ends, contains, that's the only time we use the like keyword. So here, like we want to say it starts with B, so we type B star quotation. So again, because we want to say like it starts like B, a star after B and close the quotation. The star after B means that it starts with B. If I place a star before B, it means it ends with B. And use the like keyword. For each first, now we can see that for the customer's first name starts with B, their state, and their expiration year before that date. Any question about this query? Not. Let's save this query, query 1, then jump into the next query. And I have the screenshot of this query. If it is like here, it is small. This was what we did. In the criteria row, like double quotation P star, and then before that date. It's the date. It's a date field. I shouldn't put it inside quotation. It's not a text. If it's a text, you put it inside double quotations. This is a date, so we use hashtag, which automatically adds it in the in the date. Okay, second query. Is this a total query or regular query? Total, right? In a total query, in order to make sure that we correctly created, always look for what you are showing in the output table. In the output table, you're showing expiration year and the number of customers. For each year, total number of customers. So that's clear. I'm gonna have one column for number is like the year, expiration year, and one column, total number of customers. Now, here it says credit card expired in 2018. So that means that like after that, I can like what it means to be 2018, just like the expiration year to be equal to 2018. So we can see that we have one group expiration year, one aggregation, total number of like customers that their card expires in each year. And then we only want to show it for 2018. So from the customer table, that's the only table I need. I have the expiration date, but I don't have the expiration year. It says 2018 exact expiration year. So I should create a new field as a year, expiration year. I have the expiration date. So I will add a new field, click right, go to build. I will name the field. Anytime you're creating a new field, always you have to type and like specify a new name for the field. So I will name this year expired. Year expired. And I put them together. I don't place a space between the words, just concatenate the two words, year expired. Add the colon, okay? So this is what I'm doing, which is year expired, add colon, and then you can use the format function or year function to extract year. If you're using year function, if you type year and then inside the like parentheses, then you need to add the column name. If you're using the format function, type year expired, format, and then again parentheses, then again you need to add the column like the field name. And after the field name, add a comma, and inside double quotations, you type like 4Y, so it shows you the year. And also parentheses. So here, this is the field name. This is the field name as well here. So here, I will use the year function, year, and then go to the database, find the tables, go to the table that has that field, and then double click on the field to add it to the formula, and then close the parentheses because we are using year function. Add the field to the function, and then close. I want to remind you the difference between these two functions. For year, there is no difference, but for months, there is a difference. So if you use the months function, okay, months function and like a field name like this, months function will give you numbers, number of months, 1, 2, 3, okay? This function will give you a number of the months. But if you use the format function, again, field name, add comma, and then inside quotations for M, and then close that, will give you what? Then like a text, okay? Months as text, okay? Months as text. Like this will be 9, and this will be September. That's the difference. So for months function will give you number. Format function, if you use it, it will give you as a text name of that, yeah, like months. Okay, go back to the query. So for each year, I will add the totals. For each year, count how many customers that like their card expired in each year. When we are counting number of customers, what field should I add here? What is the field I'm using here? Customer ID. When you're counting the records of a table, every time, remember, anytime you're counting the records of a table, which field do we use? The primary key of that table. So in this case, I want to know how many customers we have that their card expired. I'm going to use the primary key of this table, customer ID. And then here, change it to count. For each year, count the number of customers that they're expired in each year. If I run this, it shows me for each year, total number of customers that the card expired in each year, 2017, 18, 19. Now, last step, it says count number of customers whose card expired in 2018. So the only thing is we only want to show the ones, we want to see the ones that their card expired in 2018. So in this case, in the criteria row, 2018. Okay, so in the criteria 2018, that will say year expired is equal to 2018. Make sure to, whatever you type in the criteria row, check the data type with the data type of the field. Here, year will return a number. So in the criteria row, it should be number. Do not put it inside double quotations. It's not a text. It's not a text. If you place, let's say, double quotation 2018, this is not correct. Year function, format function, year function will return a year. So make sure to check the data type of that column and in the criteria row, type that value exactly based on the data type. So it's a number 2018. Great. And that's a year expired 2018. How many customers we have their card expired in 2018? And this is what we did here. Any question? No? Should we go to the next query? Yes. Create. Okay, query 3. So let me give you 2 minutes to work on the query. Create a query that counts number of trips each customer from Texas has taken. In the output table, show customer's first name, last name, and number of trips. Is this a total query or regular query?
Total.
Total, right? What is the group? What is the group? What is the aggregation? If it's a total query, what is the group? What is the aggregation?
Does it count?
Hmm?
Does it count?
Counting number of trips is the aggregation and for customers, right? So the group is customer. For each customer, counting the number of trips they have. Exactly. In the output table, again, check out the output table. If you think that's the total query, check out the columns in the output table. Each record will show a first name, a last name, and number of trips. Number of trips is not a field we have. That means it's a new field. It's not like a field that we just like created. We have to, it's a result of an aggregation. That means it's a total query. So for each customer, I will need two tables to pull up the data from: customer table and trips table. You see one-to-many relationship? One customer can have many trips, and we want to see how many trips they have. This query is that, like, show me how many trips each person has taken. From this, first name, last name, and from that, just show me a number. Shows me how many records I have about like for each customer. So first name and last name. Number of trips they've taken. Trip ID. So for that, let me add the totals here. Group by first name, last name, and how do I count show what number of trips? Which field do I use here? Which field? If we are counting the records of a table, we use the primary key of that table in the aggregation. So trip ID, we are counting how many trips each person has taken. So we will need to check the number of records exist in the trips table. That's when I use the primary key of that table, and here, count. Count trips for each customer. Count trips for each customer. Yes.
Exam. So when it comes to a flow like that, if we would count, are you supposed to title that field now or number of trips or total trips?
That's a great question. I will keep in mind to not take any points for that, because like we want to just make sure to like I also don't go over it right now because we don't have that much time. But let's stick to it. And if you didn't change it for any calculated field, you have to assign a name, right? If it's a year function, format function, for those you have to assign a name. But if it's the aggregation like this, the better way is to assign a name here and say total number of trips. But I'm not gonna take any points for that, like, since we're just running it. Thank you for asking it. Just again, like this, that should be fine. Count of trips. Okay. Yeah, so for each customer, count of, like, show me total number of trips. Now let's check the output table. Display customer first name, last name, and number of trips. Do we have the output table? do we have the output table? Output table. We are not done with the query, but do we have the output table columns? Yes. If I'm going to go back and make any other changes, I should always remember I already created it. So I already identified the group and I already applied the aggregation. So after this, there won't be any column that it will be assigned as a group by. So that will give you a hint to say, okay, we want only the ones from Texas. So I need to add a state from Texas. So here I will type TX to only filter the results for Texas. But then again, it's the question of what should I assign here, group by, like in the total row. If I leave it, then that means like you just change your mind because you told me you already had the output table, but now you added a new column to it. You added a new column to it, so that's not correct. Let's go back. Then we have two options. You might think I'm gonna hide it. What happened? Technical difficulties. Okay, let's go back. Sorry. So you might say, I'm gonna hide it. I know I shouldn't show it in the output table. I will hide it. But here's the thing. One thing, as a test, you have this test. If I have group by, it cannot be hidden. I'm grouping by, then I should like show in the output table. So that means this is not correct. I'm not touching the cable, but I don't know why it gets disconnected. Okay, sorry about that. So one last thing, we'll change this to where. That's when you're using a field as a way to filter the result. Once you assign a column to where, it automatically hides it. Don't change that like about the column. Let me just change this here into group by. Okay, so if it's a group by and then I change it to where, it automatically hides it because it knows you're using it as a filter. And that's correct. Yes.
So how do you know when to use where?
So basically you're saying, okay, am I using, if I keep this, if I just keep this as a group by, are you grouping by a state? In this question, group by a state, count number of customers. Are you doing that? I will say no, because the question says for each customer, show me total number of like customers, right? Not for each state.
Okay.
It only says show me for each customer, show me total number of trips when the customer is from Texas. That tells me this is not a group by, it's a verb. If it's not group by, if it's not aggregation, it's verb. That's the only option we have here. That makes sense,
Yeah.
right? So let me write this down. If I had a query, it says for each customer, for each state, count number of customers. Then I would say it asked me for two things, group by customer and group by state, and show me total number of customers. In that case, this would have been a group by. And when I run this, I would see for each customer, for each state, for each customer number of trips. But the query is not asking us, the query is asking us for each customer number of trips, like from Texas. Okay, Texas or like Texas. That means like, okay, this is the only way, the only thing is like, I'm just filtering, like limiting the number of records that I'm going to use in the aggregation. In that case, this is all like, this will be assigned not to group by, not to aggregation, then it will be assigned to where. Okay, good. Then it will run the query. I will run this query again, but like, or create this query again, but this time in a different way. Okay, Let me add this. Every total query, like basically when you run a total, it's a one level higher. So basically you can create a regular query and then change it to a total. I'm gonna do that here. In the output table, show me first name, last name, and trips. Okay. For trips, I will use trip ID. For trips, I will use trip ID for each customer. First name, last name, and a trip. Okay. And then customer from Texas. So their state is Texas. Okay, so I created a regular query. First name, last name, trip ID indicates what is their trip, and then their state from Texas. Let's run this. And I will sort them based on last name so I can see like the results for each customer. Okay. This is regular query, right? For each customer, shows the customer name, first name, last name, the trip they took, and their state. And I already know in the output table, I don't see any mention of a state. So I would think that I would need to hide it from the output table. Okay, I'm creating a regular query. Now, for each customer, I see first name, last name, and the trip ID, meaning the trip they've taken. So you tell me how many trips the first person has taken in total. 4 trips, right? If you count the records, there are 4 trips. The second one trip. A total is one level above this, basically aggregating this. Instead of like showing this one by one, all the records, it aggregates them for a group. So in this case, when I add the total, it instead of showing this, it will aggregate them. And for each customer, which we have 2 of them, show only 2 records. And then count the records that exist here. And that's what it happens here. Okay. First name, Cherry, how many trips? 1. Last name, Warren, number 4. The same thing here, right? That's exactly what we see here, but this is a list. Listing the results, that one is an aggregation. Then, if I want to change this, actually, if I took this and I wanted to change this total, I already know the one that is hidden is always red. The other one, group by count and where. I just need to change their totals. So this way, actually, I have the records. I just need to group by. This is count. And that's where, because I can see that this is hidden and it can be only be where that is being hidden from the output table. So 2 ways to create this query. Let's work on the next one. Yeah. Is this a total query or regular query? Which one is that? Yes. Regular query. We are just listing the results. There is no aggregation here. Which tables we're going to use? I need the last name, so I need the customer. For each customer, I need the trip ID, the trip they've taken. For each customer, I want the like destination, so it's on the trips. I want the category name. It's in the category table. So I add the category. If I didn't have anything else, and that would be enough, like that would be the thing that like category name. Let's say it didn't ask us to show the column. If I had this table design here, this could be correct or wrong. This would be correct or wrong. It would be wrong. I have a table that in no way is linked to the other tables. The relationships help you connect the records in different tables. if you have this case, then there is still one table missing to be added to your query design. There shouldn't be something like this, that we have a table that is not linked to the rest of the tables. So you're still missing one more table. If that's the case, add the table that connects these two tables. Now your like table selection is complete. Now your table selection is complete. And then create the query. Prompt for destination. So I add the destination here, and then in the output table, show trip ID, last name, a start date, a destination we already added, category name from the categories table, and category name of the packed item. We have a table like the content which shows you item ID for each item, right? From each category, the item, and then its color. Last thing, prompt the user for enter destination. Whenever we want to prompt the user in the criteria row under that column, inside the brackets, you type the text that you want to prompt, like you want to show to the user. So for destination, in the criteria row, inside brackets, no double quotation or anything, just inside the bracket, I will say enter destination. And then close the bracket, like same way here. That's the only thing it will add. This text under destination field in the criteria row. In the criteria row to prompt the user to enter the destination. And it will show us the records only for that specific destination. So when we run the query, if we just type New York, we only see when the only the results for where trips were taken to New York. Any question? Great. Let me yes. Okay. Um, Next query. Yes,
Can you re-show that last sentence?
sure. I think I actually have the screenshot, so let me just find the screenshot and show it.
Just the destinations back.
Is that no? Not this one. Let me see why I don't have it. Never mind. I will open it. Yeah. Under criteria row, we enter enter destination. That's what we type like here, just inside the brackets. Great. Next query. So create a query that counts number of items with red color in each category. The output table shows category name and number of red items. The number of items. Total query. Yes. Yes. What is the group? For each category, count how many items we have, right? So we are going to use the category table. We're going to use the items table, or contents table, where we have item ID as a primary key. Now, so you see one-to-many relationship. One category could have many items, and the query is trying to like numerically show for each category how many items we have. How many items we have. So in the output table, we'll show category name, okay, totals, and then which columns or which fields do I need to add here? First, for count, which one do I use here? Item ID. We are using a primary key of the table that we are gonna count the records from, right? So we are counting the like records in the content table to see how many items we have. We use the primary key of that table. Group by category name and count items. In the output table, category name, number of items. Am I like created or like, okay, let's look at the output table. Is this exactly what the query is asking us for the output table field's name? Right? One is the category name. Yes, correct. The other one is number of items. That is correct. So I already created the output table, but not the result is not complete. I still need to add one more thing, which is the color is red. Once I'm going to add this, I already know what should I assign for this total. What should be this total for the color? Should be a group by. Are you grouping the results, like saying for each color, show me total number of items? Are you saying that? Is that the query asking us that for each color, show total number of items? Yes or no? No. If that's not the case, this is not group by. It is where, right? It is where we are using it to filter the results. Where it's red. Where the color is red. So pay attention to this where keyword, which is like group by and where. Group by, that's the one that you're grouping the result and saying for each, in each row, for each category, it shows us total number of records, like total number of items. We only want the ones that their color is red. That's when we get, okay? So for each category, total number of items that like if where the color is red, where the color is red. I have my screenshots are not complete. I want to remind you one thing, which I've seen in the criteria row. A lot of times you type like in every row every time you're trying to search for something. Like for example, here you type like red. Is this correct? No. Like when you're searching for a keyword, when you're saying this starts with this, it ends with this, you don't use like here. You're saying color is exactly equal to red. In that case, that's it. Like you just type red and say color is equal to red. Color is equal to red. So if you have the exact value, just type the exact value. Don't use the keyword. Next query is very important query. So I want to give you 5 minutes to work on this. This is not in your file. So look at this. If you're like looking at the question file, it's not in that file. So this is the query. Please spend 5 minutes and try to create that query, and then we can work on it together. Yes.
I'm confused by this total number of trip days and then the output.
No. Yeah. Sorry. This should be total. Total. Thank you. Last time I changed it, I forgot to change that part. Total number of trip days or total number of days someone was on trips. How many days you've been in trips? Important query. Think about it. Make sure to attempt to create it, even if you like you're not completing it yet. Just think about it. Then we can talk about it. Who wants to help me complete it? Tell me a little bit about this query. Yes, go ahead. It's a total query, okay? Okay, customer first name and last name is the group. Exactly. So two steps. Trip days. What is trip days? End date minus a start date will give us the trip days for each trip. And then when you use sum, it will give us total number of days they were on trips. Very important query. That's great. So which tables we're going to use? We're going to use the customer table and trips table. It says show total number of trip days. Do I have the trip days? No. So what is trip days? Just like trip days itself. The trip days is end date minus a start date will give me the trip days for each trip. So let's add them. First name. I'll just, before getting to the total query, I want to add first name, last name. For each trip, I have the start date and end date in the trips table. So I can create a new field. Go to build. First, the name of the field. I will say trip days. No space. Okay. So concatenate the word trip days and then add column. Trip days column, and then from here I need to go to the table, find those two columns, end date minus a start date, end date minus a start date. Trip days, end date minus start date. What should we do here before saving that formula? Yes.
You, get rid of the EXP.
Exactly. Don't forget that part. This is very important. Like you will have it in the like exam, create a formula. You will have it. One question about this. So just keep that in mind. Remove this. And that's when you created that formula to show number of days they were on trips for each trip. So now I have for like first name, last name, and how many days they were on trips for each trip. For each trip. That's why you have so many records. For each trip shows us first name, last name, and the number of days they were on trips. Now, what we are looking for is not the trip days, it's total number of trip days. That tells me this is a total query. So next step is to add the total and say group by first name, last name, group by customer, show me total number of days they run trips. What is the total number of days? It's not count. We are not counting the days. It's a numeric value. We are adding them up. So we use sum, not count. Just keep that in mind. So this is a trip days. How many days they run trips? Sum. And now for each customer, we will see how many days that person was totally in trips. For each customer, we will have only one record. I can sort them based on last name to make sure that like, do we see any two records for a customer? Every row shows one customer. And for each customer, total number of trips. Now I will go back and change it to sort it actually based on let's just sort it based on total number of days to see who had the highest number of like highest number of days in trips. Okay, you can see this like each individual, there is one record for each person that shows total number of days they were on trips. I could have asked you average number of trips. You would have the same thing, just instead of sum, it would be average. I can ask you minimum, maximum. This is a numeric, so we can run different one of these trips. Now, we have created the output table? The output table, customer first name, last name, and total number of trips. Have we created it? Yes. But the query is not complete yet. And we already know that because we haven't applied the New York and the year. We already know once we add them, we should always remember because we already created this, we know what is the total. It's where we are using it to filter the results. So it's not a group by. First, destination is New York. So destination where New York. Destination in the total row is where. Then card expired in 2018. We have the expiration date, but we don't have the expiration year. So we have to create that field. Again, click right, go to build. I will name this year expired. Okay, so I will name the field year expired. Add colon. To remind you, format function, this time I will use the format function. Format, and then parentheses first, the field name, add comma, and then 4 whites inside double quotations. So here, year expired, add colon from the tables, from the customers table. Well, forgot to type the format function. Format function, add the parentheses, and now add expired, year expired, or CC expired. Add comma, and after the comma inside double quotations, 4 Ys. And then close the quotation and that. So this will give us the year expired. This will give us the year expired. We only want for 2018. Again, this is var, right? So we already created, we know this is a var total. In the totals, we assign it var. We only want to filter the results for 2018. We are not using it to group by the results. So in the criteria row 2018. I created this like last session. So basically, like if you run it, maybe you don't see any results, just like we don't have any customers with that like a result. I can try to change maybe a destination to something else. San Antonio. Let me run this with this one. So okay. Oh, if I type this San Antonio, maybe we can get San Antonio. Okay, let me see if we have. Oh, okay. We have one record for San Antonio at least. How many trips have taken in total? 5 days in 2018. Great. Any question about this? I will close this. I will take a screenshot here so we can I can also zoom it. You should expect a question like this in the midterm, like in the midterm exam. Okay. And there you go. No. Okay. So trip days, end date minus the start date. It gives you trip days, and then we like use the totals to say group by first name, last name, sum, total number of days. Where because destination and year are not a group by. We're not using them to group the results. We're just using them to filter the results. And like we don't have a year field, so we will use the format function to extract year from the date and then filter it with 2018. Remember, the data type of what you put here should be consistent with the data type of the column itself. Year format function for year will return a number. So do not put 2018 inside quotation. Okay, that's a mistake. That could like you could get different results. You won't get the same result. And in the midterm exam, I won't be able to like mention any like what is the issue here or why you're not getting the result. Great. Any questions? Okay, I hope this like practice with kind of like reviewing the things and was helpful. I'm pretty sure everyone is in a good state and be ready for the midterm exam.